gentlemen, welcome to the Abington Heights School Board meeting for October 5th, 2022. Would everyone please rise and pledge the flag? Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please have a roll call.
Mr. Abdallah?
Here.
Mr. Azar?
Here.
Mr. Fleming?
Here.
Mrs. Henderson?
Here.
Mrs. Karam?
Here.
Mr. Medensky?
Here.
Mr. Robeson?
Here.
Mrs. Tierney?
Here.
Mr. Acker?
Here.
Everyone's here.
Could we please have a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved. Second.
On the motion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Abdallah?
Yes.
Mr. Azar?
Yes.
Mr. Fleming?
Yes.
Mrs. Henderson?
Yes.
Mrs. Karam?
Yes.
Mr. Medensky?
Yes.
Mr. Robeson?
Yes.
Mrs. Tierney?
Yes.
Mr. Acker?
Yes.
9 yes.
Thank you very much. I want to make just a quick point about the meeting. You'll notice that we're not calling the first meeting of the month the work session, which is what we did in the past. We're calling this a board meeting, primarily because we have found that we are increasingly taking more votes on actions, and those should really be covered in a standard meeting. However, there are some aspects of the regular meeting that we're going to keep on the third, on the second meeting of the month, and that would be things like the report by the students, approval of minutes, and board reports, and so on. So this is, to some extent, an abbreviated meeting, but we will have action items on it. With that, I'll turn it over to Dr. Schaefer for the superintendent's report.
Thank you, Mr. Acker. We've got the privilege in a few moments to introduce our mock trial team. And I just want to say a few words. One, you've heard me talk about focus and excellence. And this is a group that personifies focus and excellence. Last year, we would have student groups and organizations come to our first board meeting of the month where we would honor and recognize them. This year, we're going to do the same, and we're going to allow our students to talk to us a little bit about what they've learned and what they value, because that's truly what we should be focusing on. So at this time, I'd like to turn it over to our mock trial team.
Good evening, members of the board. My name is Faith Bennett, and I am joined alongside with Michael Cummins and Chloe Levasseur. And tonight we're going to talk to you a little bit about mock trial and our goals for this season and what the team means to us.
Hi, I'm Chloe, and I'm going to keep this very, very brief. There are so many aspects of mock trial that I wanted to speak about today, but I eventually just landed on what is most important to me, which is the team itself. Mock trial is really unique because of the time investment that you put in. At the beginning of the season, we basically all just promised to each other that this activity is our priority. This is what we will put first and foremost every single day. We know it's going to be difficult. We know the hours are going to be long, and we know that the materials we build for our cases are just going to be torn down dozens and dozens of times. But when I joined, I quickly found out that the kids who do mock trial crave that level of commitment, that feeling of just being all in. I'm sure that every activity that comes through here has its own special type of people that all fit together to make like a really close-knit little community. Mock trial gives the kids who want to work hard on something, the ones who come back time and time again for the sake of the team, a place to thrive. And we thank you for that, for giving us an outlet for our willingness to put our everything into something. And somehow, this little group of teenagers has become successful. I'm not sure how it happened, so I know that the connections we made with our teammates are the source of our success, and now that's even something we look at when we pair attorneys and witnesses. The dynamics we have are what have brought us this far in our journey, and personally, they've absolutely been a part of my growth at Abington. So once again, thank you for your time, and thank you for the opportunity to be part of such an amazing team.
So I'm just going to talk to you a little bit of how mock trial works and how we go about building our case, competing, and then just some of our goals for this upcoming school year. So we start our case, we usually get the case materials in early November. This case comes out that we're going to be doing for the 2022 to 2023 school year in November. So during this process, we all go, and this year it is going to be more of in-person trials, so we're hoping we're going to be fortunate enough to go to the courthouse for trials, but typically we usually spend hours after school preparing our case, which includes a variety of different witness statements, attorney statements, opening, closings, direct examinations, cross-examinations, and we just go about building our case and working it from the start because we're given a list of case materials and a case we have to examine and go through that and really work out every single detail we need in order to build our case up to the point where it could have a successful trial. So then when we do go into competition, like we went to states and nationals this year, so during the competition process, you have 3 attorneys and 3 witnesses on both either the prosecution or plaintiff side and the defense side. And during this time, the 3 attorneys and 3 witnesses will compete with another team who will also have attorneys and witnesses on the other side. And we go and we present our case with our openings, directs, cross-examinations, and we do this in front of a list of jury members, as well as a judge who is usually chosen either in when we do district competitions, either in the courthouse in Scranton, or then when we go on to more of a state and national competition, we either go to we would when we are in person. Hopefully this year we could go to Harrisburg for the state competition, and then nationals this past year it would have been in, I believe, Michigan, and this year it's going to be in Little Rock, Arizona. So we want to be able to just appeal to a wide variety of different judges and different jury members, because when you do compete, you really want to just you want to be able to appeal to them and be able to put on a good performance that'll most appeal to them and that will really convey your case well to them. One of the most important things to do is be entertaining to the jury. This especially comes in handy with our great variety of witnesses we have on the team. They're really able to get into their character and portray a role very well. And this also goes along with our attorneys who also are able to help them, lead them along with the case, and really just our team as a whole works very well with each other and is able to really convey that well to the jury and the judges. So some of this year's goals: we do want to be able to go on to Harrisburg this year and compete in hopefully the state final competition, so we do have a shot at going to nationals again. Like I said, this year is a whole different ball game because we are going to be competing in person officially this year. So the kickoff to our season, last year it started with the LaSalle tournament, which we placed 3rd in. This year we aren't confirmed if we're going to be in it yet, but we are confirmed we're going to be having 2 teams at the University of Pennsylvania's Ben Franklin tournament this year, which we placed in 4th last year and 5th the previous year. So we really want to be able to showcase our abilities there and start off with a really great start, all of us competing in person for the first time. So during that process and building our case, we definitely want to be able to work well with each other and work through a dynamic that really helps us understand how to build our case and how to compete in in-person trials, because like I said before, we were all virtual the past 2 years of competition, so none of us really have that experience quite yet. So when we go into this, we really want to make sure we go in with a good step in the game, and we want to make sure we just keep our composure and stay confident in the courtroom, because in the end, just keeping that good bond and staying together as a team will really help us continue to go on in these competitions and continue to succeed.
So hi, my name is Michael Cummins, and I have been on the mock trial team for 4 years now, and this year will be my 2nd year as a co-captain of the mock trial team. And so what I want to talk about was basically like, you know, mock trial is a pretend trial where you put on a fake case in the past 2 years, a Zoom virtual courtroom. It basically, when you watch it, it kind of looks like a play, like you're reciting lines and responding to things, and it's like an act. You're entertaining the jury, but there's much more that goes on behind the scenes of all that. Each year, we spend hours and hours and hours and hours, both in practice and in our own time along with schoolwork, just preparing and rewriting and practicing it and rewriting it again, just to put on around 40 minutes worth of a trial. When I think about my time on the mock trial team, I don't think about like hearing that we won in a courtroom or responding to an objection. I think about sitting in Mr. Romanski's classroom, looking at the smartboard and trying to figure out how this one sentence doesn't work. So it's a lot of intensive teamwork for writing, and it has definitely made me a better writer and a better communicator. And so preparation is probably around 90% of what we do in mock trial, but the other 10% is the hardest part, which is putting on the case. So we have to go out and present our case memorized in front of real attorneys and a judge. And they judge us based on our effectiveness in communicating our trial, our case theory, our responses to objections, our knowledge of the rules of evidence. And what happens most, and is the most difficult part of mock trial, is having to improvise on the spot. Whether you get an objection you don't know how to respond to, a question you don't know the answer to, you have to create an answer using what you know about the case and what you don't know. Present it like you're extremely confident that it's correct, and maintain confident in your position whether or not you find out later if you were right or wrong. And so I know I can speak for the whole team when I say that mock trial has definitely made me more adept at writing, at improvisation, at public speaking, at communication, and at self-confidence in general when presenting my own ideas and staying firm in my position. And so I wanted to thank you all as a school board for giving us the opportunity to learn these valuable traits that will definitely last me my entire lifetime. It has made me a better witness or attorney, and also a better student in general, and I feel will prepare me for college and professional career beyond that. So I wanted to thank you for giving us the opportunity to use your space. We've competed in this room, and just offer us your support over these past few years. Mock trial, the whole team has been a highlight in my high school career. And so I would also like to thank Mr. Romanski, our coach, Mr. Snyder, who is our high school principal, who has also helped us a lot with our program, Mr. Ann and Dan Cummins, who are my parents and are our presentation advisor and our attorney advisor for our team. And then I would also like to thank all of my teammates for giving me an amazing 3 years so far in the mock trial, and I can't wait to spend this last year with them. So I just want to thank you again.
Hi, I'm Len Romanski. I'm along with Ann Cummins, our presentation advisor, and Dan Cummins, our attorney advisor. I have the privilege of coaching this magnificent team. I can't really tell you any more about mock trial than they already have and what it means to them, or how it improves their lives and improves their education. But I just want to talk a little bit about their accomplishments this year. Mock trial has had a lot of success over the years, but I've never been more proud of a group than I am of this group of students right here. Back-to-back state championships is a tremendous accomplishment, considering the level of competition in our district and across the state. There are more than 300 teams that compete in mock trial. So I want to thank you for acknowledging their accomplishments tonight. Something you may not be aware of is that as a result of the team's success this year, Abington Heights High School has just been recognized as the William Tacey School of the Year Award in Pennsylvania by the Pennsylvania Communication Association. That's a university-based program that promotes teaching, research, service, and excellence in all areas of communication. I attended their banquet this past Saturday at East Stroudsburg University to accept this award for excellence in curricular and extracurricular speech communication programs, and I wanted to share this plaque with you before it's displayed in the high school. Also, I wanted to let you know that a member of the team, Faith Bennett, was awarded the Gene Lutz High School Speaker of the Year Award in Pennsylvania for her contribution to the team's success and for excellence in public speaking. Faith has been on the team since she was a freshman also, and she's one, along with Michael, she's one of 2 co-captains. So I'd like to congratulate Faith tonight for her accomplishments. Well done, Faith. And finally, I'd just like to invite you all to come and see the team compete. They usually compete at the courthouse in Scranton, either the federal courthouse or the county courthouse in late January and early February. It's open to everyone. They really are an amazing group of students and a fabulous team. So thank you for your time.
thank you very much for all of your hard effort, hard work. And Mr. Romansky, thank you very much for everything you do on behalf of the students here at Abington Heights. Okay, next part of the meeting is public comments. We have two people that have asked to speak. The first will be Amy Scandell.
Good evening. I'm on my phone here, so I wrote it on my phone. I have a couple comments, questions and comments. Feel free if you're comfortable answering. The first one is school safety. My understanding is on Monday there is an in-service on school shootings. It's awful that we have to do that, but we live in this reality. So I have a few questions, comments. Maybe you can, just brainstorming on this issue. In the past meeting, I know you said the high school resource officer was timed and it took about 4 minutes from the high school to the middle school, because I think we're all in agreement that the middle school is kind of the sitting duck. I don't really want to use that, but it is true. About 4 minutes. I think everyone can agree on that. I think that's what I heard. My question is what if something happens at 7:15 a.m. in the gridlock time? Have we discussed that? That could be reality. I'm an ER nurse, and it's best case scenario. These people that are going to come in, and we hope that we never have to do that. But that's something that I thought of, and a few other people talking to them. And also, with that said, the morning chaos. How would he get there? Have we thought of that? And I think that needs to be discussed on Monday. What is the alternative? Are they going to pull up and run up the hill? I mean, there's no way that you would get through. And this is for emergency too. I think about a child at the beginning, that is truly, because that road is hard and it's not your to blame, but I think we need to think and be proactive. The other thing is, what time does the resource officer start? I have a high schooler. I know high school starts at 8:15. So if something's happening at 7 or 7:15, is he even on duty? So these are things I think that need to be discussed on Monday, and I'm really concerned about that. And then also the state police, the local police, how would they get there? Or if we reversed it and it happened at 2:15. So with going into Monday, I would appreciate that being on the agenda and bringing that up. So the other thing I wanted to bring up, I was looking through the agenda. I didn't get to look at everything, and Dr. Schaefer, I'm guessing that you're going to cover this, but the Carnegie math. My concern is what's wrong with our math agenda right now, or curriculum right now. Did we review this? Did we review others? Was this reviewed by teachers, students, parents? I've never heard of changing our math curriculum. Are our scores going down? Why are we adapting a new curriculum when we're just starting to be normal again? Coming from my 6th grader, she said, I like the math. I'm learning, I like it. I hope we don't change it. She goes, what are you gonna talk about tonight, Mom? So I said, the curriculum. It sounds like the Philadelphia School District, and I could be wrong because this is a very quick brainstorming today, uses it, and I know we can't compare Philly School District to here, but their math scores, if they are using it, were like 47% proficient in 2012. They dipped way down. Who knows what happened in 2014? They're to 17%, and it's only at 22% proficient there. And I'm almost done here. So if they're using it, it's not working there, and it's not apples to apples because it's still not going up. So I'm very concerned. This Carnegie company's going to come. Well, they have a product to sell. And I also noted it's $97,000, and I know you said that there's a federal grant, but it's also $30,000. One of the line items is per year. And have we discussed this? And I know you want to maybe pass it tonight, and I think, I'm just hearing about this curriculum now, and to change it I think is premature, and I would like you to take that into account when you vote tonight on the changing the math. Thank you.
We'll wait till after Tara goes.
You want to, we'll
Yeah,
respond after?
yeah,
That makes sense.
Thank you, Amy. We'll respond after the public comment so we can capture all the questions, and then we can do that.
Tara Houlihan?
Good evening. I'm also here to talk about the math curriculum, and I realize that you're only just beginning to look at curriculum, and Carnegie Learning is only one of many. So I'm going to talk tonight a little bit about some of the concerns I had, again, just very briefly looking at Carnegie Math, and maybe some of the concerns as a parent I have when you look for the new math curriculum, what maybe to look for to help our students and our parents. So here's some of my concerns. First, as a computer programmer, a former computer programmer, I know firsthand how important math is, not only just in everyday life, but also in one's career. Many current STEM jobs and future STEM jobs rely on students having not just math skills, but superior math skills. Whatever curriculum we purchase to replace our math curriculum, it could be here for 10, 15 years. So we really have to make sure we get it right. As I research Carnegie Learning, from what I can see, it's actually an old Common Core math curriculum. Now, Common Core has been abandoned by many districts because they have seen firsthand how low standards and test scores have resulted from this curriculum. So this was my first concern. Then I watched a Carnegie Learning video by Carnegie Learning about how the curriculum is used in the classroom. There are 3 parts to the curriculum: engage, develop, and demonstrate. The video states that the second stage, develop, is the bulk of the classroom time. So after a very brief lesson by the teacher, the kids break up into groups and basically teach themselves the material. And they argue and discuss. And of course, doing this sometimes is good because it teaches them team building skills. My concern is, if they're doing this on a daily basis, getting very little instruction, what that means as a parent is our kids are going to come home and not know how to do the math. And say, for example, they're doing geometry or calculus. Unless we're really working with that in our everyday life, we've probably forgot it. So what does this mean as a parent? We probably have to get a tutor. A tutor's about $50 every session, from what I remember from years ago. And you could easily spend 1 or 2 sessions a week for them to keep up. Now say you have 2 kids, spending $5,000 a year, that's easy on tutoring. If you have 2 kids and maybe a parent even works and can't do it. And then my most important concern is, what about families that don't have the money for this tutoring? I think with this curriculum and any curriculum, we really need to be concerned about equity and every child having access. And then finally with the Carnegie, I don't know if it's called Math IA or Math EA, I just found a lot of change.org petitions on the website from parents that created them for their school district, asking, please get rid of this curriculum, because they said it could take up to 4 hours to complete the lessons. They're unrealistic and stressful. This is only part of the math homework given, and if students don't complete the online problems because they don't know how to do the work, then they will get marked a 0, bringing down their math grade. And just finally, I think we should look at the top performing math districts in the country and even the world and see what do they do and what curriculum are they using. Because as you know, our kids can't afford for us to get this wrong. Thank you so much for your time.
All right, I believe that's all. So thank you so much. I just want to clarify some things. Carnegie Learning, although can be a curricular program, that is not what we're purchasing. We're purchasing their professional development services to help us develop and write a curriculum and then choose instructional materials that match that curriculum. So it doesn't mean that we're going with their program of their text. It just means that they are helping to support our curriculum writing process. And last April, we kind of rolled out how we were going to write curriculum, because although we believe we have curriculum, we don't actually have an operational curriculum for any grade in math. So our teachers have math books that they teach by, but they don't actually have a written curriculum. So that's what we're looking to develop. And Mr. Preachy is helping to lead the charge. But really, when we looked at the process and what we needed to do and what we needed to accomplish, it was a multi-year program just for him. And we felt that it was best to kind of bring in a third party. We did publicize an RFP, and we received 2 different proposals, and Dr. Schaefer and I spent a significant amount of time reviewing them, and Carnegie Learning was definitely the best and the most economical. So their goal with us is to write curriculum and help us choose programs that match what we need as a district, not what they want to sell us. They do have a canned program, but it doesn't mean that's the road we're going down. I think I answered them all. Absolutely. The other about school safety, so just Mrs. Scandell, so we have the active shooter drill on Monday, and then on Thursday, as a leadership team with all the local police departments, we're sitting down and spending a few hours debriefing and talking about it. So next week, I will certainly bring up those issues of how will we address an emergency during those arrival and dismissal times at the middle school. I think that's a great point, so thank you.
Okay. Any other public comments? Thank you very much. Let's move into the action and discussion items. Dr. Schaefer?
Thank you, Mr. Acker. At this time, I would ask the board to consider a motion to approve the personnel report.
So moved.
Second.
On the motion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Azar?
Yes.
Mr. Fleming?
Yes.
Mrs. Henderson?
Yes.
Mrs. Karam?
Yes.
Mr. Medensky?
Yes.
Mr. Robeson?
Yes.
Mrs. Tierney?
Yes.
Mr. Abdallah?
Yes.
Mr. Acker?
Yes.
9 yes.
Mr. Acker asks that the board consider a motion to approve the Abington Heights School District Federal Programs Equity Plan.
So moved.
May I have a second?
Second.
On the motion?
Just one comment on that, and after reading that, the one thing that I realized was, you know, when they look at the percentage of highly qualified teachers, I mean, we score out of we almost had like literally a perfect score, and I think we're off by like 0.4%, which is a rounding error. So, you know, it's a lot of, I was nervous not nervous, but concerned when I saw the plan of what it was. It's really collecting data to make sure that we provide equitable education, and by far, especially in the area of highly qualified teachers, we knock it out of the park, so thank you.
Further comments? Roll call, please.
Mr. Fleming?
Yes.
Mrs. Henderson?
Yes.
Mrs. Karam?
Yes.
Mr. Medensky?
Yes.
Mr. Robeson?
Yes.
Mrs. Tierney?
Yes.
Mr. Abdallah?
Yes.
Mr. Azar?
Yes.
Mr. Acker?
Yes.
9 yes.
Mr. Acker asks the board approve the agreement between the Abington Heights School District and the Scranton School District for an AEDY placement.
So moved.
Second.
On the motion? Roll call, please.
Mrs. Henderson?
Yes.
Mrs. Karam?
Yes.
Mr. Medensky?
Yes.
Mr. Robeson?
Yes.
Mrs. Tierney?
Yes.
Mr. Abdallah?
Yes.
Mr. Azar?
Yes.
Mr. Fleming?
Yes.
Mr. Acker?
Yes.
9 yes.
Mr. Acker asks that the board approve the rehabilitation agreement between Abington Heights School District and Keystone Community Resources, Inc.
So moved.
Second.
On the motion? Roll call, please.
Mrs. Karam?
Yes.
Mr. Medensky?
Yes.
Mr. Robeson?
Yes.
Mrs. Tierney?
Yes.
Mr. Abdallah?
Yes.
Mr. Azar?
Yes.
Mr. Fleming?
Yes.
Mrs. Henderson?
Yes.
And Mr. Acker?
Yes.
9 yes.
Mr. Acker, I'd ask the board consider a motion to approve the settlement agreement between Abington Heights School District and employee 1A.
So moved.
Second.
On the motion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Medensky,
Yes.
Mr. Robeson,
Yes.
Mrs. Tierney,
Yes.
Mr. Abdallah,
Yes.
Mr. Azar,
Yes.
Mr. Fleming,
Yes.
Mrs. Henderson,
Yes.
Mrs. Karam,
Yes.
Mr. Acker.
Yes.
9 yes.
Mr. Acker, I'd ask that the board consider a motion to approve a competitively bid proposal for mathematics curriculum development and associated professional services from Carnegie Learning. The cost of the proposal will be covered by federal grant funds.
So moved.
Second.
On the motion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Robeson,
Yes.
Mrs. Tierney,
Yes.
Mr. Abdallah,
Yes.
Mr. Azar,
Yes.
Mr. Fleming,
Yes.
Mrs. Henderson,
Yes.
Mrs. Karam,
Yes.
Mr. Medensky,
Abstain.
and Mr. Acker.
Yes.
8 yes.
Do we have any unfinished business? New business?
I do have some new business. Yeah, I know, catch everybody off guard, I love it. So I received a certificate today from the Pennsylvania School Boards Association. And this certificate of appreciation is being awarded to Mr. Warren Acker for 16 years of service as part of the school board. Quite an accomplishment.
Thank you very much. I'm
No, thank you.
flattered for the attention, and I just want to say it's been a pleasure to work with my fellow board members. It's been a lot of fun with everybody. We've had our disagreements, but I think the nice thing is everybody on this board really cares about the children and the school district. So with that, I call for adjournment. Thank you all.
All right, I'll see you.
I was about to do that.